I am the living swipe right on the mic, I'm a slut. I don't know how to not spit like a loud. I spit a pound on my kids on your couch.
All right, let's try this one more time, and hopefully this works. Cross my finger. I'm watching you, chat, so you guys might want to help us out here. Welcome to the quad. It's February 9th. It is Friday. It is evening time, and if you get down with the CSL, you know that Friday nights we do multiple shows. Earlier today we had the Ward. For those that are fans of League of Legends, you might have watched that, but if you're a fan of Dota 2, you definitely passed that one up and decided to join this show, as we have the CSL Dota 2 edition of the quad this week. I have a nice little all-star lineup, and what I was saying before during that whole muted stance, and even Charles reminded me, it's been a rough week for Dota 2. One, it actually started with me getting a chat banned in Dota 2. I took a 24-hour chat ban, so I thought I was heading towards that 6 months pretty damn fast. I was like, haha, man, first ballot candidate right here. 2, we had to ban a player out of the CSL. 3, we added a damn anime channel into our Discord, into our CSL Discord. And yeah, just mic issues right there. Just stupid shit like that. Just mic issues right there. So we're going to try to turn it around. I have a really good group, and if you guys remember last time, we took like 4.5 hours talking about everything. We're going to try to cut that down into like a fourth of the time and keep it a little bit more concise so everybody doesn't lose their passion for gaming and Dota for like 48 hours after that. So to my right, we have the community manager from the Dota 2 side of things. We got Ricky, aka R Cryptic. How's your Friday going?
Friday is going well. Yeah, going good.
Not too bad. How are things like? Are you getting any like stress out of the CSL Dota 2 side, or teams like getting on your nerves a little bit right now?
Not really. It's been pretty fun, honestly. The last few series have been pretty interesting, to say the least.
I haven't been in enough years of administrative roles for esports. Like once you have like a good like 5 years under your belt, like you're just gonna like wake up and just be jaded at like gamers and gaming just like every single day. Like I am. All right, below me, I got our head writer for Dota 2. He is the man that pretty much knows every in and out of the CSL Dota 2 scene. Charles Trask, a.k.a. the grand nephew of Rasputin with that damn beard, man. It's strong today. Look at that thing. Look at that thing, man. How long does it take you to grow something like that out?
I don't know. I don't really keep track. I started growing it by not shaving and just not caring, so I think I'm on 5 years or something.
5 years now? Like no trims, no like, you know, like...
I mean, I trim the bottom of it a bit, but I don't really
you don't got the, like,
do much.
You don't got the little billy goat thing that I got going here that's starting to change hairs. Ricky's is nice because he's got like the dark hair, so it comes in like very full and it looks like very like it's got that nice balanced full. I've got like this like orange red hairy like Russian Slavic mix that's like pouring in here. So it's I can't grow it out. I can't grow it out too long, or I look like one of those like Russian like oligarchy like just like Tara's just like grown up. Basically, I look almost like I would look like Charles if I grew it out. That's
actual Rasputin.
Yeah, actual Rasputin. How's your Friday going, man?
Pretty good, I suppose. We got dumped on by a lot of snow yesterday, like a foot of snow. So I shoveled way too much snow yesterday, and today I just played a bit of Dota. My last game, I played with some friends, and they're a bunch of memers and game throwers. So game was real hard, but we somehow won.
Always great with win. Like I take wins with so much appreciation now, anytime, just because like you could lose, you could lose over the dumbest things. And somebody like me that's just been like riding that like mid 2K roller coaster for like a couple years, just going up and down. Like every time you think you're gonna get out of it, like just the Dota 2 scene and community comes back and it's like nah, come back down. We're gonna pull you back down. We're gonna pull you back down to where you're supposed to be. All right, and down to our bottom right, the offlaner / quality retweeter, actually, too, as well. Recently, I actually started following you, Diego, and I'm not going to lie. Like, your retweet game's on point. I enjoy. I get a good giggle out of them on a daily basis. So, we got Rutgers, Mr. Storm sold out, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, had a wonderful week. We got a player banned. Won our last game.
You're on the happy side of that, man. You're like, we got a player banned. Got him, boys.
Yeah.
Got him. Oh man, I'm assuming where are you at right now? Are you with the team?
Yeah, actually, we have the entire team is in this room somewhere. Yeah.
The entire team.
Do they
Oh
want
my
to
God.
combine if they're not in game? Do they want to combine? Say really quick.
A couple of people are playing Smash. I know Jahan's right here. Michael, come here. Say hi. My carry player is right next to me. Hey, mountain of evidence, where are you? Where's Aaron? Aaron!
Aaron,
Yes.
get Aaron in here. He is an all-star. He is an all-star for what he did, actually.
Just say hi.
There you go. Aaron, by the way, thank you once again for sending in all that wonderful evidence. Like it was that whole thing. Our head admin was just like, we need proof or something that at least gets us going. And Aaron just like, I could send you a page or two, but you could have a 17-page manifesto. And just like
Oh yeah, no. If anyone noticed on Steam, my name's Mount Evidence now. Don't worry about that.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
I started writing the report around the time the semester started because my classes hadn't really started up yet. And I was working on the website for our esports organization here, but I had enough time on my hands and enough vindication towards this person. Because I don't know, there was just something that really rubbed me the wrong way about it. Because it's it sets a really bad precedent for collegiate esports if you can just smurf on stream with a pro as your boyfriend or something. It was really. I had a vendetta. I needed to prove something.
For those who don't know what the hell we're talking about, we'll get into it here in just a second. But that man in the red right there is who you can blame and also be proud of for setting that thing. I remember getting it because we were in San Diego doing our meetings with all our head admins. And the whole time we were just like, yeah, so what's going to happen to this Georgia thing? We were like, yeah, we don't know. We don't have enough evidence or proof. All of a sudden, we just get this, we get this 17-page manifesto. So all of us are just sitting there reading this 7-page thing, just looking at it. Good God, this is a lot of work. For somebody like me, it was pretty damn obvious. I was like, yeah, just line up the 2 damn Dota buffs. You know exactly what's going on. But definitely, it was great analytical work. It was a piece of art.
As much this is kind of a meme, but my major is actually in applied physics, and I have a couple courses that involve analyzing big data sets of over 1,000 radioactive decays. Mm-hmm. So looking at analyzing a lot of data and looking at kind of trends it really helped here because I knew kind of exactly where I needed to look for all this stuff.
So what's the half-life of Georgia? 10 games, right? 10 games, that's the half-life?
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, no. Well, if you think of the half-life as the amount of players they have, we'll see. It depends on if some of them stop showing up. But yeah, maybe we can start calculating the half-life after one more decay. We'll see.
I got you. All right, thanks, Aaron.
Anyways, no problem.
That's always good. All right, guys, so let's get started with the day. Obviously, we'll just follow straight into it. I'll pull it up right here. If you guys are not familiar with what's going on, it is... Let me make sure I actually got my correct obs screen here. Boop. Nope, that's not the one. Okay, so it should be this one right here. Hopefully it popped up for you guys. I'll have to check on stream, make sure I did as well. We had a Georgia player banned from the Dota 2 team. Basically, I'll kind of read through it really quick. University of Georgia's D1 player Amy Sue, aka Lucky Girl, or Imose Wayama on the CSL website, if you looked at, has been issued as disqualification after a review by the CSL. During the fall, a similar accusation regarding the same player did not produce significant evidence at the moment, but in the spring, obviously, Aaron went mount evidence and gave everything we needed to basically show that there was account smurfing going on. And the context behind it is the player Lucky Girl has a higher MMR rated boyfriend, Lucky Guy, who pretty much on match days, whether it would be just for one game or a full match, would hop in and smurf on her account. And it was kind of a weird blatant thing. I think Rutgers and Georgia Tech really noticed it above everybody else because the big issue was Lucky Girl was a player that is pretty much a pure support, right? When we all looked at it, CM, Lich, Tree, it was just support heavy, and then all of a sudden you'd see these little swings of just weird mid carries, and the performances would be just absolutely insanely well every single time these little stints of carry play would happen. And so you look at the actual boyfriend's account, and the account had all the mid and carry players that he was playing on hers when he would smurf it, and so there was a pretty high ratio and connectivity to when he played on her account during match days, and obviously all of a sudden became a mid player, so it was a little bit blatant to the players, but it is one of those things that we needed to look into. I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on the whole ordeal?
The thing that bothers me the most is not that, well, it bothers me obviously that they did it, but what bothers me the most is that this is the second time that we're getting them for this. I think the first time we caught them, like you said earlier, what you alluded to earlier, we didn't have enough evidence to ding them. So I think we overturned a match result or something like that. But this time, like, we just got way too much evidence, like almost to the point of just like, okay, there's too much here, guys. Like, this is too much evidence. So this time we had to ding them for it. And I'm really glad that we got them because this was so stupid. It was, you have a Lich and CM main with like 600 games on hard supports, and then suddenly they're playing like Storm Spirit and they go like 16-0-3, or they play TA and they just get like a Divine Rapier at like 20 minutes. It's like, I totally see a CM player doing that.
Yeah, you just have somebody balling out. By the way, also the actual like rulings and punishment for it, just the player got banned. So Amy Sue was the only one that got banned. All the wins that Georgia got during that stint, pretty much any time that she played, will be overturned. So any losses like Rutgers got or Georgia Tech, they'll be able to overturn those and add a win to their collection this season. And then if Georgia's Dota 2 team gets into the playoffs and gets into prize money, 20% of any potential prize winnings is taken away and deducted from them automatically, regardless of where they finish. So those are at least some of the hand-down punishments. Ricky, do you think it's, or even Diego, do you think it's appropriate, at least with the punishment and how it was, or is it not enough? Should have gone maybe even after the whole entire team? This is one of the things I argue.
I mean, like, good luck getting to playoffs without your mid player. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Were they actually missing a mid player? Are they going to be missing a mid player technically, though? If you think about it,
They're missing a support now.
Yeah, the whole situation of like filling that spot is going to be interesting for them. I don't really have much sympathy, to be honest. Like, I don't know whether or not the team knew, but it's pretty hard to. I would say it's difficult to not know that that is happening, and so for the most part, like having their wins overturned, I think it's a really fair punishment. They still have a chance for playoffs. They still have a chance to go the whole way, so the team isn't like being completely shut down. So if they can somehow like replace that spot on their roster, I think, go for it. But I think it's pretty darn appropriate.
Even if they win the rest of the games they have left, they can't make it to playoffs. I think just like mathematically.
Oh really? All right. Well then.
Yeah. So. Like I would have.
We'll have to take a look at that. Yeah, when we get down there.
I would have. I mean, I would have. Like I think punishment's fair. I would have just banned the entire team for the rest of the season, not for like next year also.
Diego, kill them all.
Because
how would you not? My whole thing is, how would you not know that's happening?
That's
exactly.
That's where I
but
come to it.
since they're knocked out by this point, pretty much anyway, it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah. Obviously, it was a very fun time in our head admin CSL Slack chat for a couple weeks, just discussing and debating, debating the merits of everything. I was one of the ones I'm just like, scorch earth, like just take them all out. And fortunately, we have admins that we have a lawyer technically in Duran, and then Alan, obviously he'll be very close looking at evidence and seeing what can actually be applied to a ban. I'm more, I'll rush to it. I'm like get him. And so it's been an interesting week just because of that alone, but as well we've gotten further into the spring. But before we get into spring, let's move along and talk about the fall kind of division and fall recap of the season, as we did have at least a majority of the teams still playing then. And here I will pull it up just a sec. You guys should see it right now. So what we did in the fall when we did this episode was just kind of look at all the conferences, go down one by one, and then put out our predictions for who's going to win, who's going to finish atop, etc. And let's just look and see kind of what results happened, and are we shocked, surprised? Was it supposed to happen as it was? East 3 to kick our things off. We have RIT at 7-0, Stony Brook at 5-2, Maryland at 4-3, Cornell at 4-3, John Hopkins at 3-4, UConn at 3-4, UMass at 2-5, and New York at 0-7. RIT obviously one of the top teams easily, but at the same time, I feel like looking at it, maybe somebody like Cornell underperformed. Maybe UMass underperformed too a tiny bit to an extent, and I think like somebody like John Hopkins is actually maybe a tiny bit of a dark horse in the long run as we look at the spring and how it's going. How did the East 3 look for you guys in the fall?
For me, I thought East 3 was pretty strong as a division. I mean, we're like, as we'll go through later, a lot of these teams are in the tops of their conferences now, and I thought a lot of them would perform well, so I'm not that surprised.
Yeah, I think East 3 is super stacked as well. Like, I don't think anyone can touch RIT right now.
Yeah,
I don't think they've lost a single. They have not dropped a single game. They have not dropped a single scrim. I don't know.
Yeah. There's one other team I'm thinking I want to see them play, but yeah, they're insanely strong.
Is it just a high caliber of players that they have overall that you guys think, or just team combination, ability to draft?
All 5 of them are like top 50, right? Or some.
Evaden's the only one, I believe, top 50. The rest are all divine. I know that. I don't know how many leaderboards there are, but they play really well. Like, you can tell that they play well, and I think that's like one of their biggest strengths. They definitely practice.
Like, I don't know how, like, because we scrimmed them once, and the draft seemed like okay, but it was definitely their play that was just like I don't know what to do against these guys ever.
Exactly.
Interesting. So at least speaking for RIT, they finished where they were supposed to, right? So everybody's on that one. All right.
Yeah.
East 2, ETS, École des Technologies Supérieures, 7-0. After last year, I feel like at some point they just dropped out, right? Like in the spring, if I'm not mistaken. I could probably take a look really quick and see, but...
Did they exist last year?
I'm pretty sure they did. I just need to like find them. They had to be somewhere in here.
Because I thought it was the other Montreal team that you're thinking of.
Maybe it was. I'm like control Fing, like seeing if any. No, I guess they weren't. Never mind. Oh, I'm thinking of the other team then probably. Yeah, no, definitely not the ETS.
Oh, Ben's saying that they disbanded last year.
They did. I was pretty sure. Okay, yeah. So I'm not out of my mind. I am not completely out of my mind. I was like pretty sure that we were good on that side. So 7-0. That's rare to see a team that disbanded the year before and then just going 7-0 the next year. Usually doesn't happen. I don't think we've had many of those instances. Like I know Georgia Tech, they had an issue a couple of years ago where they ended up disbanding and then had I feel like a 7-0 last year, but generally it doesn't happen. Speaking of teams right behind them, Rutgers, hey there, 5-2, Pittsburgh 5-2, Carnegie Mellon at 4-3, Princeton 3-4, Lehigh at 3-4, Penn State at 1-6, and I think they've officially dropped out. Villanova 0-7, who then officially as well dropped out. You guys played ETS, right? In the fall. Do you remember anything from that match?
Yeah, I made the comparison before. I think they're like wings because I don't know how to draft against them because they pick literally every hero ever. So, but they didn't seem unbeatable like RIT does now because we got 2-0 by ETS, but both teams were pretty close, I think, or at least the second game was. Yeah, right now I don't know how they've been playing. The last time we played them was a scrim like early January, and we destroyed them. So I don't know what's going on.
Let's be real.
Interesting. Yeah, looking at, I mean, their whole record really clean across the fall. No games dropped. So that's another thing that's kind of hard to pull off, I consider, for a lot of teams. Oh my God, I just accidentally went to standings and don't know how to back. See, when it went at F11, it just causes issues. There we go. All right. Well, let's come back. Take a look at, I mean, I guess before we look into that, having our Rutgers representative here, in terms of the fall, do you guys feel like you did all right?
Fall, we definitely did better than I expected. Spring, we like fell off a little bit, but I think we just faced like the 2 strongest teams in our group first, and it was a little hard to deal with it, but I think we've like come back now.
Gotcha. All right, let's move down to the East 1. We got Central Florida 6-1. Well, that Georgia one's not correct at the moment. It shows 6-1, but that is not going to be 6-1 once our admins get a chance to get a hold of that team page. So we got Marietta College at 5-2, Georgia Tech at 5-2, North Carolina State at 3-4, Case Western at 2-5, Miami University at 1-6, and South Carolina at 0-7, who I think has also dropped out along with Case Western, if I'm not mistaken. Realistically, did Central? I mean, basically any win that Georgia got is almost going to be overturned, and I wonder who did they lose to? If I look at their,
Believe it was UCF.
Yeah, I remember
was it
watching that game.
UCF?
Yeah, UCF. I'm pretty sure was the
Oh.
one that beat him.
Marietta College.
Wait, really? Oh wow.
Was it a forfeit
That's
or was it
surprising.
an actual win? That was an actual win.
Props to Marietta. Wow.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think we just had them on stream the other night, and so yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
I think
it
so.
was.
Yeah, go ahead. You guys can go ahead and make your point.
I mean, I don't have much of a point. I mean, Georgia's record's gonna look real different here pretty soon. So you know, I don't think it really matters too much. But Marietta's good. After seeing him on stream, they actually played 2 really good games. So
Yeah, they're a pretty solid team.
Georgia Tech should be probably a playoff team too as well. I mean, when it's all said and done,
Agreed.
Central Florida, Marietta, Georgia Tech should be there. Maybe an outside shot if a 4 seed pops up, a North Carolina State, somebody like that could maybe sneak in, but they're going to be facing like an RIT probably in the first round if they make it through, though, which is not always a good thing to finish in that spot. Moving down into the Midwest 2, there was Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois at Chicago, Purdue, Michigan, Trine, and Robert Morris. Now, Robert Morris finished at 0-7, and they have officially kind of went inactive / disbanded for the time being. They had some roster issues at the start of the fall and just were not able to recover in time. Trine, I think, is also out and disbanded and or at least forfeited the season. Michigan, not so hot this year. For a team that probably could be and should be doing better, 3-4 for them. Purdue 4-3, Illinois and Chicago 4-3. Illinois 5-2. That's the one that you guys might know as the Fighting Illini. Iowa at 5-2, and Wisconsin Madison at 6-1. But didn't Iowa drop out too? Can we get a unofficially, technically?
the MMR Assassins.
I think Ben gave me the okay that they have fallen off the face of the earth, but I'm
we can
not
say
sure if they have or have not yet.
For the people that don't understand, there are teams, just because it's college, they just disband, drop out, and like don't say a single word to anybody. And so for like weeks, teams just like in us, we wonder like what the hell's going on with them and try to contact them. And all of a sudden, just apparently email servers and their Steam servers all collapse around their school, and so that they have a really hard time answering any questions as simple as did you guys disband or drop out. So if you notice there's some forfeits in the season or somebody that's probably disbanded and hasn't been forfeited all the way through, that just means they've unofficially been kind of dropped out and we have to deal with them on a week-to-week basis. So those teams that actually did disband and let us know ahead of time, we do appreciate that. Thank you for being responsible and communicating well with us.
So apparently, really quick, Iowa isn't confirmed, but they have forfeited.
Yes.
That's what it's just said. So yeah.
Unofficial, in a sense, yeah, it's pretty much. Wisconsin is 6-1. They're actually doing pretty well. I don't know if this was the hardest division to go through, at least in regards to the region, but getting 6 wins is pretty nice. And this, side of the half, obviously, you probably got a forfeit win over Robert Morris and Trine, but you're beating Purdue, Michigan, and pretty much almost everybody else right there in that group. That's pretty damn good. Diego,
I think at the time,
yeah, go ahead.
I said that Wisconsin should have done better, but both Midwest 2 and 1, they're just kind of like, They're not really free because no region's really free, but they're just, they're not the East regions, which are terrifying.
Yeah, there's definitely other regions that seem to have a lot more power to them, but I'd agree. The Midwest too. I don't think like Wisconsin's been like thoroughly tested, I would say, by the end of the first half of the season.
Diego, have you had a chance to scrim them or play them in any way in the past year?
I don't think so. Yeah, I have no idea.
Interesting. Well, hopefully when we look at the spring, we'll double check their standings and kind of keep a note and jot down what they're doing. All right, our next one that we're going to be looking at is the Midwest 1, UT Austin at 7-0. Obviously still on the rise, doing a pretty good job in their second year now in D1, right?
I think
believe
so.
Yeah, second year in D1. Obviously, they dominated D2 in their first year. They came over to D1, did pretty well, and then fell out in playoffs. Once again, another very strong fall showing from them, 7-0. Houston, another pretty decent team at 6-1. Washington in St. Louis, 5-2. Oregon State surprisingly popping up in the 4th seed, 4-3. K-State right behind them at 3-4, and then you had I think basically a little group of UT dropouts right here from Rio Grande Valley, Dallas, and San Antonio, and so not much to note on them. But Texas once again doing pretty well. Do we think that they could maybe go further this year if they can continue? Obviously, this is another group that might not test them exactly like East or a West Coast side. So, any thoughts on UT?
Was that UT Austin that we had just yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah. UT Austin, Longhorn Gaming.
Yep.
They're good. They're a good team. They play well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, from what I've heard, same thing. I haven't played them, but I heard they're good. Like actually good.
They're like deceptively good. They only have 2 divine players, which compared to some of the other top teams is kind of low. But if you watch them, they definitely have like plans going into their games, and they execute really well. So I don't really see them like having too much difficulty in the second half. I think they're for sure going to be a good playoff team to watch.
Yeah, UT Austin just reminds me of like the opposite of Rochester, where Rochester they had like that Avadan juggernaut mid, where UT Austin, I'm sure they have like really, really good players, but it's more about the team synergy and the cooperation than one player just absolutely stomping their lane and snowballing the game.
Interesting. We'll have to, I mean, obviously we'll double check and see their spring results and see how they're doing. But yeah, once again, a bit dangerous, but probably a little untested too as well overall, just yet against some of the top teams. All right, let's drop down to the north where we have McMaster, Toronto, McGill, Waterloo, Montreal, Carleton, Seneca College, and Sheridan College. Seneca and Sheridan, as far as I'm aware, they're out and dropped out. McMaster, Toronto, obviously the top 2. McMaster's really good. I remember, at least from the fall half, they beat Toronto pretty handedly and didn't have any struggles really versus any other team. Toronto, though, another pretty damn good team as well, coming from that north region. McGill's doing okay. Waterloo is actually probably a bit better than a 3-4 record, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I talked to them actually today, and just part of the issue that they've had over the season right now is just trying to get all 5 players at the same time to sit down and play. And so scheduling has been a big problem for them this past year, trying to get enough players to play. Couldn't tell you too much about Montreal still. We haven't really seen too much of them, and Carleton as well. I feel like this was just a group that at least some of the middle-of-the-road teams kind of cannibalized each other. In other groups, as we look at the spring, I hope they did better or are doing better in a sense. Any thoughts on McMaster and Toronto at least, though?
I would say Toronto are better than even they think they are, just because Innovation has the least amount of faith out of any coordinator I've ever seen. McMaster, yeah, they're really good. McGill, they're probably better than a 5-2, but I would not be surprised if Toronto went to top 8 or even just the LAN finals, provided they don't run into UBC and then kill themselves again.
Gotcha.
Well, we saw Toronto take on UBC already, didn't we?
Yeah, Toronto beat UBC.
And they came out on top. So, I mean, that was surprising, but it's pretty nuts. I think you're right. Both those teams are better than anyone thinks they are.
Regular season UBC is different than playoff UBC. Keep telling people there's like this weird little magic that goes on at UBC around playoff time where all of a sudden
they start caring.
Yeah, they start. Well, I mean, all of a sudden they just start practicing a little bit more, and I mean, overall they just become a little bit more of an extra team to deal with than they were during the regular season.
I think Co starts trying during playoffs because like he single-handedly beat us last year.
Yeah. I mean, obviously they have like good leadership and a good comp of a team, so like it's still a very formidable team compared to last year, so I don't think they've gotten any worse, at least in my opinion. But let's move down to the West 2 little group over here, and here is UBC. They finished at 6-0. Washington at 5-1, Arizona State at 4-2, Alberta at 3-3, Victoria 1-5, Concordia at 1-5, Arizona at 1-5. I don't know which one. I think Arizona might have dropped. I don't know which one of these teams all officially dropped out. I feel like a couple of them might be unofficial, but we've seen Arizona State do fairly well in the group. Alberta as well, kind of one of those middle of the road team. Washington hanging in there, actually doing, I feel like, a little bit better than people expected. And then obviously UBC at 6-0, no surprise. Bit of a short group though too as well, so not too much, I want to say, getting tested. I don't think this is the premier West group, right?
No. I think
Where is that result?
I think like it's a good group. Like the top few teams are good teams, but yeah, it's definitely not the most difficult of the West by any means.
Any other thoughts, guys?
So you know that really spooky team that kind of beat Rutgers without a second thought, Esports from Montreal.
Yes.
They got beaten by University of Alberta.
Whoa.
Was
Okay.
Was that a real match?
Yeah, that was a real match. 2-0.
Interesting. I wonder if UBC like used subs that game. That could have been maybe a thing. I don't know. If we look at like lineups and roster, that's hard for me to like sit and believe to an extent after watching Alberta play earlier this year too as well a couple times, and so I wonder if they utilized subs during that. But yeah,
I would say for a lot of the teams, especially the newer teams, well, I guess especially the older teams that have been with us for years and years, the first half of the season doesn't really mean anything to them, although it should. But then the second half of the season kicks off, and then they just actually try and start caring, and then they just show up.
Mm-hmm. Could be the case in point. One final group right here. We got the West 1, and that is Cal Poly Pomona, UCLA, UC Davis, UC San Diego, UC Berkeley, UC Santa Cruz, Academy of Art Institute, and the good old Jolly Polys of Cal Poly SLO.
Rest in peace, dude.
Rest in peace. It was great while it lasted. They get to join Academy of Art at the little kids table for the spring of teams that have disbanded and dropped, at least for the moment. Cal Poly Pomona. What is going on over there?
I think I don't know. I'm not worried about them because we scrimmed them a bunch, and I don't think we've dropped a single game against them. Like we scrimmed them at the start of fall when I was still playing mid, and we just had like the worst game ever, and we still beat them. So I don't know. They seem decent, but I just don't know what their deal is when they play against us.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Are you any more familiar with the Cal Poly Pomona, Ricky? I know you're big on the SLO side.
I know them a little bit. I think they had a really good patch like understanding in the first half of the season, so like they performed really well, but they do seem to kind of be struggling a little bit more in the second half. Not saying that like they're not doing well, like they are still doing well, they're still winning games, but it's not as like nearly as convincing as it was in the first half. And kind of just going back to what Tarask said, like it could very well just be the whole second half of the season, let's actually try type of mentality for some of the other teams. But I think they'll make it. I'm pretty sure they're going to make it to playoffs, but they seem to be having a lot more difficulties the second half for sure.
Yeah, because I mean, Cal Poly, they beat UC Davis in the first half, and I wouldn't say UC Davis just casually gives up games.
Yeah, I agree. That was surprising to me. I thought UCLA and Davis were going to beat Pomona in the first half, and they both lost. And they both lost like pretty heavily too. They weren't very close games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, interesting. The only game that they did drop was versus UC Davis. We saw at least on the fall side, but a team like UC Davis, I know they were pretty busy at the end of the fall side of things because they went over to China and played in a tournament for colleges internationally. So I don't know how much of their focus was on the actual gameplay themselves. But you look at somebody like UCLA. They did lose to Cal Poly. They did lose to UC Davis, dropped a game to UC Berkeley and UC San Diego. Then you move over to their spring side, though, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. They're doing pretty
Yeah.
good, at least relative to the teams that they have to play for the current moment. They're obviously going to get 2 real nice tests here coming up in these next couple weeks against ETS and Stony Brook, and that should really give us a good idea. But Leaf Eaters boys are not doing too bad either. Fun fact: I had a JV league coordinator contact me today by the name of Leaf. I'm like, hi, what school do you represent? He's like, UCLA. I'm like, what is up with that school and like plants and leaves? Like,
Dude, they're all botanists, man.
They all like the jungle.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird, but had definitely them call me out for that. But looking at it, is at least I feel like the results here aren't what they should be, right? Like something seems a little bit off in this West 1 division. CPP maybe not supposed to be 7-0. UC Davis maybe higher.
I don't know. I mean, all 3 of those teams are definitely the top 3 teams for that bracket. I mean, the games probably could have gone either way, like depending on how they were feeling that day. But I guess like Cal Poly Pomona specifically, like just wanted it more. You know,
Yeah.
They actually showed up and played better.
I would agree with what you said earlier. They pretty much had that patch figured, and they were just actually trying, or they just had like the very niche drafts that couldn't be countered.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all these California schools seem like the exact same to me. Like they draft these boring drafts and they just like play weird. So
Yo, TBT.
Boring drafts that can win all the time.
yeah, like
It's true.
I don't know, UCSD or whoever we played against last week had just like some boring ass drafts, and they got out drafted because I drafted some like just run at your base and not die heroes. So
4 strength cores feels good, man.
All right. Well, looks like at least to fall side, we've done a pretty good recap of that. Let's swap over for now. Let's go straight into spring since we have it on topic anyways, and pop up and see what is going on right now currently at the moment. We will start with Conference 8. We have McGill, New York, Washington, Cal Poly Pomona, Illinois at Chicago, Case Western, Penn State, and Oregon State. I just want to double check really quick on Oregon State. Are they actually playing? Is Case Western, Oregon State, and Case Western are actually playing? Am I wrong about 2 teams? This is wild. Everybody's playing. Hold on. Penn State's the only one I know is not playing, pretty sure. Just double check it really quick before I make that claim. Pretty sure, yeah. It looks like they've been dropping forfeits really quick. Yeah. All right. So looking at this group, we have actually 6 of the 7 members playing. We have McGill, New York, and Washington, CPP, Illinois at Chicago, Case Western, and Oregon State all playing. Oregon State not able to find a win just yet, but McGill sitting atop at 4-0. New York sitting atop at 4-0. CPP taking their first loss of the season. Washington taking their second loss of the season. How is this group in your guys' eyes?
I would just like to make a shout out for Oregon State. Despite not winning at all in the second half of the season so far, they're still showing up for their matches. They're still like trying to win, and I think that's very admirable. Like there's so many teams that they just like lose 2 series off in the first or the second half of the season. It's like, okay, I guess we're not making playoffs, guys. See you next year.
It is a bit of, it is a bit of a, I feel like, a bug after like the first like 2 or 3 weeks. If you go like 1-2 or 0-3, that's when you start seeing like a lot more disbands and drops, just because they don't see, I guess, a purpose to continue or finish out the season completely. Which I don't know. Is that just like a gaming culture thing, quitting thing, or is it just because of structure? Because you're not technically a scholarship player playing for Dota 2 for your Dota 2 team, because you would never see, you obviously never see this in sports. You don't see, you know, whichever team that's sucking the worst in any conference, you know, we you know, there's no chance we'll make the NCAA tournament or the NIT tournament. So, you know, you don't just see people like, hey, let's disband. Just like people are not showing up for games and stuff like that in sports. Is this just kind of like a little bug of gaming culture, or is it just structure at universities that just don't have official teams?
I think it's definitely lack of incentive. Like,
Yeah.
putting in such a huge time commitment, and then the spring starts and you lose 2 matches like immediately, it's definitely like kills your morale. I know, like we almost disbanded after we lost like after we lost to Cornell, we lost like every scrim in a row for like 2 straight weeks, and we're just like all hated each other for a while. But yeah, it's like a thing you gotta get over, essentially. Like playing for free until you get the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, is it worth it for teams just to finish the season? Like, I mean, what is the loss of, say, like, if you've lost 2 or 3 games already in the spring, what's it going to hurt to play another 3 to 4 more? Like, is it just worth to play it out and just see where you go for the rest of the season? Or could it also matter just like team egos as well? Could it be just like people are hating each other so much that it's probably better that they separate?
Probably. I think like also in our case we had faced like the 2 strongest teams first, and the thing that kept us going, we're like, all right, we lost to like the 2 strongest teams, and there's still like the rest of these, like whatever, we can beat the rest of these teams. So there's still a chance for us to make playoffs. I think for everyone else, it's like, all right, we just lost to a team that finished last in their group. I don't think we're making playoffs.
Yeah. I would say like some of it also comes just kind of what you touched on, comes down to just team like synergy. A lot of times like players put these teams together like last minute, and they're not really like a group of people that know each other than like just maybe through like their singular club, and then they're just like, oh yeah, like whatever, let's just give it a shot, and then kind of have like a bad first half of the season, and then a lot of them drop out then, and then you have the rest of the teams that come in second half of the season, like Diego said, just 1-2 games, losses, and they're like, yeah, forget this, like I'm done, I'm gonna like go do something else with my time, you know?
Yeah.
I would say it largely depends on what the team's motivation is. Like, are these teams joining the leagues because they want to win, because they think they can win, or like are they joining the league just because they want to play Dota and winning is secondary? Like, what is the motivation that drives these teams? Because if it's like, okay, we're making a team, let's smash these scrubs. They're just ancients. They're heralds. They're garbage at Dota, and then they get smashed by like Berkeley, or they get smashed by like Diego's team here, and it's like, okay, we have no idea what we're doing. Let's just throw away our money and let's not play anymore. Whereas like other teams, so like they'll play in the league, they'll have fun, they'll get owned, but they're still playing fun Dota.
Gotcha. I'm glad you didn't say Archon in there as well. Made me feel. I was just like, you're starting to like you're starting to list off ranks. I'm just like, please don't say it. Please don't say it.
Dude, Monka S Twitch chat right now.
All right, let's move down to Conference 7. UMass 5-0. There we go. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, I expected them to do a little better. Toronto at 4-0, so they have not played with each other yet. Purdue at 3-1, UBC at 2-2, Washington and St. Louis, another decent school, at 2-3 already. North Carolina State, one of the middle of the road teams, at 2-3, and then dropouts with Academy of Art and Princeton University. And wow, I mean, this is a heavy group right here. This is a really heavy group with UBC, UMass, Toronto. And even to me, I would include in there probably Washington and St. Louis as well. All these teams are actually fairly decent, if not really good. What do you guys think right now in regards to the current results that you see?
I think it's going to conclude like this. Probably UBC shuffle up a slot as they muscle Purdue out of that spot.
Let's take a look and see who UBC has played here in the spring. They have not played Princeton because that's a forfeit win. They've beaten Purdue at 2-0. They've lost to the underdogs. I think that's Toronto, right?
Yeah, they lost to Toronto.
And then they lost to UMass 1-2. And so that's interesting. It's 1-2, so that's not that bad of a loss. It's not a straight 0-2 that we typically see, but it goes to show with that theory that the East is as good as you guys thought they were this year, with just somebody as good as UMass performing in that game. We still have NC State, Washington, St. Louis, and obviously that most likely that forfeit win coming against Academy of Art. They should be able to beat NC State and Washington and St. Louis, right?
Oh yeah,
they should. You know, if they can get their team there and actually play, you know, then yeah, absolutely. But they've played with subs like more than half of the second half of the season, so probably why they're at 2-2 right now.
Interesting. Any thoughts, Diego?
I don't know, honestly. I think UBC definitely should be doing better. I'm not surprised Princeton just like dropped out because they're never good.
Do you guys actually, while we're continuing this topic of dropouts, do you think that just some of these teams that just random ragtag and combine together just to play, that might not be, say, your like 4 or 5K teams, should they just sign up for D2, or like people should make like an emphasis like, hey, if you guys are like very loosely combined as a team, like maybe D2 is where you should play like to start off. Like, do you want?
Yeah.
It's so hard to say with some of these teams because some of these teams that drop out, it's not because their team is lacking skill or anything. It's just they don't have the motivation to keep going, or it's just like, okay, it's hard to schedule our games, or I'm going to focus on my major, or I'm starting grad school, and then they just stop playing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's.
I think I don't think there should be an MMR requirement, but I think it should be suggested that like, or the average MMR of D1 should be shown for people, because I think like a team with like, I'm sorry Dan, but like a team with like 4 Archons on it, I don't think they should be on D1.
We're the most dangerous team you could ever find in a Dota 2 game. You
So unpredictable.
You won't have a damn clue what's going on. You're like, what the hell did they do? Pick 4 supports? Sending AM mid? Guys, how do we handle this? Like, what do we do?
There's a guy like split pushing on the wrong side of the map with no towers.
We're just like, why is this Earthshaker split? We're getting our like Raxus taken. Why is this Earthshaker split pushing bottom lane right now? away from us. Get back here. Yeah, so
that's what I want to see next season. I want to see a team with 4 Archons and like a top 10 leaderboard player just make it to the finals.
Okay, so that's in D2 right now. Legitimately, that's a team in D2.
Seriously?
And yeah, there's a okay.
That's
so
great.
Yeah, one of the D2 teams, they have a top like 200 leaderboard player who wanted to play Division 1, but they couldn't get enough fuel for Division 1, so they instead convinced him to do Division 2, and he's a beast. The guy just wrecks house in Division 2, but it's the same. Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? But it's the same thing. Like, they just like couldn't get a team together for Division 1 because the rest of his team didn't feel confident enough. So they do Division 2, and they just have a lot of fun with it. And I think a lot of other teams should take that mentality. Really, like Cal Poly Slow, perfect example. One guy really wanted to do Division 1, convinced them to do Division 1. They completely disband. Their Division 2 team is killing it, and they have a lot of fun every week. So, I don't know. It's something that other teams should really consider.
Gotcha. Results-wise, let's just keep going so we don't hold up the whole entire show today. Conference 6, McMaster at 4-0. No surprise. Marietta right behind them at 4-1. Probably not another surprise. Houston 3-2, 2 losses. That's a little bit more of what I expected now that they're facing a little bit more, or at least better competition. Lehigh, we just saw them the other night at 2-2. They're not a great team, but not that bad where they're one of the bottom half of the teams either, I would imagine.
I think they're good. They should be doing better. We scrimmed them a lot. Like, I became good friends with their coordinator. I think their problem is they don't talk to each other as much. Whereas, like, I think we're on the same skill level they are, but since we're like pretty good friends, my team are pretty good friends. We talk to each other all the time. It's like we have a problem. It's easy for us to just like, if we call someone a moron in the middle of the game, we're not going to be upset about it afterwards. I think they might have that problem kind of where it's like communication is like a big issue with them, even though they're like pretty good.
Well, it's interesting. You look at their record, and it's tough to get a good feel for them, at least via the spring. They had a bye. They played the Jolly Pollies. Just kidding. I'll keep emphasizing that one all day long.
Thanks.
Iowa, another forfeit win, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that was another forfeit win for them. But their actual games they played against McMaster, took a game off of McMaster, and they lost 0-2 to Marietta, but they took a game off of McMaster. So I think that shows that they at least have the capability to compete and stick around with some of these good teams. Maybe they're not there themselves there just yet, but who knows? Maybe in a year, possibly, we could maybe see them improve if they stick together, keep practicing. We've seen teams slowly improve little by little, right?
If they get their shit together, I think they can make playoffs this year.
I'd agree.
But I don't see them getting past like top 8 right now, or top 6 game.
I would agree. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go down to Conference 5. Johns Hopkins at 3-0, a team that we haven't seen too much of this year. UT Austin right behind them at 3-1, taking their first loss of the season. Georgia Tech at 2-1, and I'm gonna guess they're supposed to be 3-0. No, never mind. That's from last. That's from last half they played Georgia. Never mind. Hold on. We're not gonna poke fun at Georgia just yet. we haven't got down to them just yet. Illinois at 3-2, Carnegie Mellon at 2-2, UC Santa Cruz at 1-2, and Arizona has dropped out 0-6. Is anybody that familiar with Johns Hopkins by chance? Or am I
I
just like...
never heard of
don't
them.
think we've seen them play, but they're one of the better teams, I would say. Like a lot of teams is like, oh, they're not like they're not UBC, they're not U of Toronto. Like, okay, they're fine, we could roll them over. And then John Hopkins just has like solid drafts, and they win Dota.
UT Austin,
Yeah.
who have they played? They've lost. They lost to John Hopkins. That's their one loss of the spring.
Mm-hmm.
They've yet to play Georgia Tech just yet, but if things goes, I think they will. They probably. I mean, sorry, Jesus. They just played the other night. Never mind. Sorry, I'm stupid. I'm losing my mind. They just played yesterday. So UT Austin obviously just has UC Santa Cruz left on their schedule, and I think that should be a win for them as well. So, is John Hopkins as good as we think they are? Then, if they're able to,
I think
take out Texas?
we need to get them broadcasted so we can see just how good they are.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. I tried to do research on them, and all of their Steam accounts are either blocked or like completely smurfs, like brand new accounts. So I literally have no idea what their skill range is. But they're playing apparently really well because they're beating some of the top teams. But I can't like get a ballpark on how good they actually are.
March 1st, as I look at the schedule right now, their team schedule, we scheduled them for March 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific. So if everything goes well, we'll get our first little taste of John Hopkins then.
Hopefully they don't dodge.
Yeah, I at this point I never know, and I don't know until but until we hit that like start game button, like I'm never like certain if we'll actually have a game that night. So yeah, that'll be interesting to kind of look at and see. It's just one of those kind of mystery teams that enters every single year that we don't know too much about and performs really well. Marietta is technically one of those two as well, as we've seen. You know, we haven't seen too much of them, but they've also performed really well. All right, Conference 4. Maryland, Pittsburgh, Central Florida, Cal Berkeley, Concordia, UT Rio dropouts, and Wisconsin at 0-3. Wisconsin now after a 6-1 down to 0-3. Have they actually played their matches? That is kind of a question I have. They have not played against UMCP. They have not played against Central Florida, and they have played against Cal. So they haven't dropped out, unofficially or officially. It looks like just the first couple weeks probably might have been scheduling issues for them. That is another thing to note, I guess, as well. There were certain schools that just didn't get started or were able to play, I feel like, in the first couple weeks of January, right? Some of them were out on vacation, and teams that they were playing against just were not compromising enough to reschedule with them. They just kind of took the forfeit wins, right?
I think a lot of those schools that forfeit early on in the second half of the season, school just didn't exist at the time. Like that American thing where school started like late January or something like that. It's weird.
Possibly.
Because I know we had a lot of forfeits from schools like that.
Yeah. Maryland, during the fall side, kind of one of the middle of the road teams, already sitting at 4-0. Looking at them, they have actually played against UCF. They have played against Concordia. They've played against, or I guess they got the forfeit win over Wisconsin-Madison. All they have really left is Cal and Pittsburgh, which I think are favorable matchups for them. They could be a first seed actually through out of this group so far, at least with how it looks at the moment. Again,
Yeah, Maryland has always been one of those teams that just turns it on suddenly.
East is doing pretty well still. Damn. Conference number 3, Cornell, UC San Diego, Rutgers, Victoria, a team that will not be named, UT Dallas, University of Waterloo. Cornell 3-0, San Diego 3-1, Rutgers technically looks like it got fixed already. So yeah, we got a correct 3-1. That Georgia game definitely got overturned, it looks like. What has been? I mean, I guess with Cornell, you can bring them on. You can bring people on. We don't mind.
I like half the people in this room don't actually know I'm on stream, so I have to like yell it whenever someone gets near me.
We gotta put like signs out like don't cross, don't interrupt. Men at work over here. Cornell 3-0. Are they as good as they look right now?
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly so.
Yeah. they like kind of just moseyed along first half of the season, but this was a team that's made it to LAN before, and they have some of the same players. They're still really strong, and they're practicing and just getting better. So, this is a really, really, really good team to watch.
Yeah, Cornell is basically the poster child of we don't care about the first half of the season, and then they just steamroll the second half of the season because I think it's the entire roster from last year, minus one player or something. I can't remember, but
they still have. I think they still have Praise the Sun running some things, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, Cake still plays. Embers is still a part of it. Solar. Sasquatch, who, again, a lot of people from the StarCraft 2 community might actually know him originally from there, but he's transitioned into a pretty well-rounded Dota player as well, and then Rabbidish as well, that plays for them on a weekly basis. When they played you guys, they used, what was it, Sasquatch, Ergo, Rabbidish, Solar, and Embers. And so, what is the thing, at least Diego, to you, what stands out to you about them in regards to why they're a good team?
I think their support players actually know what they're doing most of the time. Like, I think a big thing with them is probably their synergy. Like, they have a plan and they execute it no matter what, all the time. They're just like overall very solid together. I think they've been playing together for a very long time. I think.
Well, yeah, it's all the same guys from last season, so I would hope they're doing well.
I've only ever beaten them in a Battle Cup. I'll say that.
Interesting. Everything, at least in regards to this group at the current moment, looks correct. I mean, I'm looking at the Rutgers games remaining. That UT Dallas should be, I think, a forfeit win for you guys. And is Victoria forfeit win as well?
I think
they played
Victoria
their last game,
exists.
and it was against Cornell. So
Cornell, okay. So you guys might have to play that one, but I think you guys are favored. I would say probably going.
I mean, they're the team I was talking about earlier with the 4 Archons. So.
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad. So you guys should probably finish out at 5-1 on the season in regards to finishing seeding wise, because you guys have beaten San Diego. You guys should be finishing above them. San Diego, they have Victoria, but they also have Cornell remaining too as well on their schedule, so they could earn a potential loss there, which would seal up maybe a second slot spot for you guys. But I mean, finishing in second in groups is not actually a terrible thing either, because I think as long as you're not finishing third or fourth in your groups, you're avoiding somebody like an RIT in the first round or somewhere along those lines. You're not going to hit one of those top teams, which is kind of a little bit of a benefit. But overall, at least the top half of the group is pretty strong. And so what are your expectations, at least for the remaining portions of spring? Are you guys just going to focus a little bit more on scrimming and practices, since you guys aren't going to have really too many games here in the rest of February?
Probably just going to take a break after our last game. Like, we've been playing together a lot recently, so I think we need to chill for a bit and then start getting ready for their playoffs.
Gotcha. All right, 2 more conferences to go. UCLA in Conference 2 leads the way at 5-0. Stony Brook 4-0. ETS 3-1. Carleton 2-1. Alberta 3-2. UT San Antonio, Trine, and South Carolina all have dropped out, officially and unofficially, depending on where you look at. But that 5 right there, that is a pretty good 5-team group right there as well. UCLA, Stony Brook, ETS, Carleton, and Alberta.
Yeah, these teams will be clamoring over each other for spots.
These could honestly be all playoff teams from the looks of it too as well. It's kind of one of those rare groups where you get 5 potential playoff related teams. UCLA, Stony Brook, ETS for sure, but when you're talking about like the teams that kind of get last in, like Carleton and Alberta are in that discussion, I feel like, as well. And depending on dropouts, they honestly might if things kind of go their way. Is UCLA and Stony Brook as good as they are? They have not played with each other just yet.
Yeah, they play each other in March, I think.
Did I schedule them? I have to look. I can't remember my own damn schedule.
No, they play on the 24th.
24th, yeah. It looks like they play versus Stony Brook. I'll have to talk to them, see if I can pull them off. If not, we'll just cover their replays too as well, just because I think that's going to be a really interesting game as well.
You'll probably have to cover the replays because UCLA is always a pain in the ass to schedule games with.
Wrong. UCLA, Leaf Eater is actually fantastic. I love that guy. He contacts me with he sends me lots of love.
Leaf is fine. Leaf is great. His players, on the other hand, are not great. Leaf doesn't like his players.
But they try. They try to accommodate.
A for effort, you know.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times we get into that weird balance. If we're gonna talk about scheduling, we get in that weird balance of Teams on the East Coast, for a lot of them, 4 p.m. Pacific is too early, but 7 p.m. Pacific is too late. For the West Coast, they don't even look at 4 p.m. as an option for them, and 7 p.m. is too early for them a lot of times. And so it becomes this like weird dance around of trying to say like, what the hell's going on? Like, why are you guys people in classes at like 10 o'clock at night? And the East Coast as well. It's like, why aren't you guys home by like 10 Eastern? Like, why can't you guys play sometimes? And so, yeah, it's a weird little mesh of how teams and where they find their comfort spots. And I think that's like even a bigger topic as well to figure out for next year of how we want to operate with teams and scheduling. Because for a lot of these East Coast teams, they really, really, really just feel like either one's too early or the other one's too late. So there's like not that just right, sweet little mid spot. But are we just going to need a couple more weeks to see who comes out of this group and get a better idea of who's the lead? And probably see their games as well.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I would say UCLA, Stony Brook, and esports are all where they're going to end up, minus like a few overturned results and stuff. But I don't know how Alberta and Carleton are going to shape up. It'll be really interesting to see how this concludes.
Yeah, I was going to say Alberta actually took the win against ETS, which I thought was like pretty surprising because I thought ETS, I mean, after watching them last half of the season, would go far, like do better. But
yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, these 5 teams are stacked. Like all 5 of them are really strong. So it's kind of a coin toss at this point.
I think the thing with ETS is they lost one of their players
right.
in between the first half and the second half, and they're just figuring things out again. Like they're not a terrible team with that one missing player. It's just once you have that good synergy going and it's disrupted, it's hard to pick it up again.
Gotcha.
They felt like an entirely different team from last semester when we
Yeah.
played them this semester. They're missing players, so.
Well, could maybe be their downfall. They still look playoff bound though. At least at the current moment, they still look playoff bound. So we're probably at least gonna get a round or two of them, even if they are struggling at the current moment. But we got one final conference. Looking at it, no surprise. RIT sitting at 4-0 right now. UC Davis right behind them at 2-1. Michigan at 2-1. Arizona State 2-1. Miami at Ohio University. For those that are not familiar, it's not the U. Down in Florida, so they're at 1-2. Montreal at 1-3. Villanova 0-2, and Kansas State at 0-2. Now, Villanova should be dropped out.
Yeah, I think Kansas State and Villanova no longer exist.
Double checking right now. At least through the they did play their first game against UC Davis. I don't know if they've officially then dropped out. They might have just taken a forfeit loss on one end. Wonder what's up with Montreal. Did they take a...
If my first series was against UC Davis, I would just quit life right there.
I'm just looking through their matches right now. Okay, so it looks like Montreal is playing as well. All of their games. Miami of Ohio is playing their games. This actually might be one of the rare groups that everybody's playing their matches right now at the moment. It looks like it is. Wow. Not a lot of times do we get to say that when we're about 4 weeks deep into the spring season. So
let's hope it continues.
Yeah. Props to all of you guys that are continuing to play, at least in this first group right here. But RIT 4-0, UC Davis at 2-1. Who did UC Davis take their loss to? RIT. So
probably RIT.
Yeah, looks like they took the loss to RIT at 0-2. Is RIT just going to be that big of a juggernaut? Are they going to have to get stopped by somebody like Cornell, maybe down the road, or maybe UT Austin, or who's going to be somebody that ends up stopping them? Because it looks like UC Davis is not that same team as they were last year for whatever reason.
I want to see RIT versus UBC in our quarterfinals. That'd be the dream.
Yeah, I mean, I this is a LAN contention team. For me, I see them. It's going to take a very, very, very coordinated team to stop them from making it there. And Davis is still really strong this year. So the fact that they won pretty handily over Davis says a lot about RIT.
Is RIT the only team that you would have a lock as a LAN team? Or would you have any?
I don't think anyone's a lock. I don't think anyone's a lock. But I think that this is a team that probably has one of the highest chances.
You guys are like,
Yeah, Rochester.
I think for sure they're going to land. Like they're the one team that stands out to me. It's like these guys could like qualify to a minor or something.
Wow.
You guys are like almost the opposite of the CS:GO quad we just had the other week, where we're just like, who are your guys' landlocks? They like named like 6 teams, like yeah, they're all gonna make it to land. I'm like, there's only 4 spots. What are you guys talking about? You guys are just like, you guys are like, nobody's gonna make it this year. Who would ever make it to land? That's crazy.
In all my years of watching CSL Dota, the one thing I can assume from any team is that they're gonna throw, and then they're gonna get cocky, and they're just gonna not take their games completely serious, and things are gonna happen. It's just
all right. If you
on
had,
Tuesday, I think.
If you had one land, fine. I'll give you guys a bit of an easier toss up. What's one land team that you could lock if you could?
Cornell.
I mean, Diego said RIT, right? Like that's his pick.
Yeah.
Not
even picking his team. Come on, Diego.
I listen. I'm realistic. I'm being realistic here. Like I think we can make land, but I don't know like if it's guaranteed. So I just think RIT is that good. So.
RIT is very good. I would say I wouldn't give any team a lock for sure, because there are so many teams that they could play up against before making it to land that could actually pull a win off. So it's hard to say. Like if they play Cornell, UBC, Toronto, any of those teams in quarterfinals, like those teams could win. Absolutely.
My heart says Rutgers, but my dick says RIT.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ben says UConn. I don't think I agree.
Yeah, Ben, you're
out. Oh yeah, get out of here.
You're out of your mind.
Let's see them make playoffs first.
Yeah, they have to even make it to playoffs.
Did anybody back in the day used to ever watch a StarCraft talk show called State of the Game?
I missed State of the Game so much.
Yeah, State of the Game. And so what they used to do for like GSO tournaments and stuff like that, there would be like, "What's your heart pick? Like, what is your pick for your heart, and what's your dick say?" Like, so it was always a really funny show. Just like in regards to that pick, but yeah, I think RIT is like really solid. If there's anybody else, I would probably be saying another team from the East should be showing up. They're just way too strong this year, regardless of whether a UBC, UT Austin, however they get matched up in the brackets. I would imagine at least 2 East Coast teams are going to be at land this year, no doubt. All right, so
dream finals for me is us versus UBC.
You versus UBC. That would be fun to watch.
Dude, UBC.
I could see that as a good 3rd place match, maybe.
Hey, yeah, I played them for 3rd place.
I can see it too.
That was nice. And then I lost.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
All right, let's change our gears into our final topic, and we'll keep this one as maybe short as possibly as we can. But the new Dota 2 patch. For those,
so sick.
So sick. I really like this one, so I just need to actually pull up the damn patch. Where is it at?
I think it's the 2nd most amount of quality of life changes that we've seen in a single patch.
Where's the patch? Oh my god, I can't find it. Could somebody link it to me? I thought I had it up somewhere, and I really just did not have it up. Hold on, we're gonna mess up the cameras to get that up and running. Okay, there we go. I promise I had it from the start. Yeah. Okay, let's hop on over to the actual patch itself. It's called Spring Cleaning for Dota 2. This was kind of a cool little patch. Go over a few big notes really quickly. Here's what has changed. Redesigned player profile, which is kind of cool. I actually like that. You can kind of see the wins and losses on some of your recent performances with heroes, some of the stats, some of the heroes. A little bit of a better layout. Obviously, you could pick your background too as well. So some of the ones that have had that one co-op background have been really enjoying. But I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yo, I can show my hats again, dude. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Gameplay changelog notifications. So once you've picked a hero, you can see what kind of changes have recently happened to them. So as you can see, like this one, when you're hovering over, is like the lion or a recent patch change, which I think will be nice for very casual Dota players that don't really pay attention to patches. They can just kind of mouse over and see what's the difference. They might not apply it in their head to know what's different, but at least they could see what's going on. Last hit trainer, I've seen it, kind of cool. Just
long overdue.
Yeah, long overdue. Just, one of those things you can kind of work on your mechanics, which is a little bit nice. Improved buyback notifications. Cool, I guess. Kind of. Who cares?
Super nice.
Yeah. Live Pro Circuit Tournament tab. Another one of those kind of UI things that they've added in. Strategy phase item pooling.
People still forget this exists, but I use it every game when I play or when I'm forced to play hard 5. This is so nice.
Pooling, the item pooling, super nice. Yeah.
I no longer have to chase down my offlaner. It's like, hey, let me give you my. Come get this ward. You're gonna die. Okay, no ward for you. Sorry.
It's interesting. I've yet to use it, and I probably should, because when I do support, I'm like that really nice support that's like, don't buy tangos. I got them. I got all the wards. I got all the couriers. Like, everybody just chill out. I'll give everything to you guys. And so I probably need to try it out. It looks interesting. It looks like a really simplified form of redistributing items for the most part. Team teleport status, kind of just another one of those in-game UI additions that I feel like more for spectators, right? I would say this change.
I would say it's one of those things that people forget exists until you just remember that it exists, and then it's part of your gameplay all the time. Like, it's so handy to have.
This one scared me to death, to be honest, when I saw it. 6-month matchmaking bans, good God.
So what can you tell us about this one, Dan?
Yeah, Dan, do you have any experience yet with this?
I'm a second ballot Hall of Famer on this one, probably. Coming soon, like... With all the stress of the CSL, and then like after doing all the CSL, going in at night trying to play a game of Dota 2 is probably not like the most healthiest or conducive thing to do for my behavior score. But yeah, I would say for people that are getting lots of chat bans and stuff like that, you might want to watch out. I think it's more for a lot of people that have had like abandons and people that are like purposely feeding. I feel like those are the ones that got more focused on, not exactly like people with just like bad behavior and trash talk.
So like the updated Twitch rules and guidelines, a lot of people were making a big fuss about this, but I think there was like one Reddit post about one person who got a 6, or they got that notification, not the ban, but they got the notification that a ban was imminent. The only people that are going to see bans or see that notification are just colossal shit lords that I hope we never see in Dota ever again. So this is the best thing ever for everyone. It's not that.
Well, there's definitely been, I was gonna say there's definitely been already some people tagged by this for sure. And the thing is, people are saying, well, they can just make another account. True, but it takes a little while to get back into ranked again and to get to that MMR you might have been in. Say if you're especially at a higher MMR, it will be that much harder for you to get back to where you were. So I think it is a pretty good change overall, even though I might get tagged by it at some point down the road.
Don't worry, he has a second account just waiting.
A second account.
I'm already starting to farm it up right now.
It's fine. I have a second account that's like Ancient 3. I'll give it to you if you need it. No, honestly, like the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that it is heavily based on lifetime statistics of your account. So if you have like a very long history of being a heavily toxic player and having terrible behavior scores, that's when you're going to get this notification. So it's not like you play like a bad 10 games and you're going to get 6-month banned, you know?
Yeah.
For proof, Waga has been testing it on his stream for the last like 2 weeks, and he has he's spamming techies every game, and he had like 28 reports.
But he also had 28 commends.
Yeah, so he's like
positive on his commends right now. Like he's getting more commends than reports.
But the commends don't actually do too much, which is the crazy thing. Like commends don't help out behavior score that much. It's just like getting not reported. And his overall like lifetime behavior score is still like largely positive. So it's not like they're gonna like randomly 6-month ban you for having a few bad games. Like this is something that like your account has been flagged for it, and they probably deserved the 6-month ban.
What's the behavior score range again? It's like up to 10,000, right? So like 10,000 is like the high or whatever, and like in the 9,000 whatever, like 800, 900 is like kind of where you want to be sitting in 9,700, right? Well, last time I checked, I still had like a good behavior score. All I know, I was not in shit just yet.
Yeah, they actually revamped behavior score, so it's like a letter grading now. So there's normal, which is pretty much the best it can be. And then it goes to C, C minus, D, D minus. And then if you hit below D minus, you're just going to get 6-month ban straight out.
What's the command for the? I forgot what the command is to check the behavior score.
So you go in and you do developer 1, and then after that, it's like game client account debug or something like that. It should autocomplete.
Dota_game_client.
We're about to live test it right now on stream. Just to
Yeah.
see.
So you have to be in developer 1, and then you can basically autocomplete it. Yeah. Game_client_. Whatever.
Everyone can see
debug.
how close you are to that ban.
I'm really curious right now. So what is it? Developer.
So you type developer space 1.
Okay.
And then it might not autocomplete that. You might get an error, and then you just like type it again. Let me see. Developer space 1. You probably get an error, yeah. So type it again, and then do. I think it's game_. If you type in like game client debug
It's
or something.
Dota_game something.
Yeah.
Dota_game account client debug.
Yeah, that's the one. And then if you scroll all the way to the bottom of that is your behavior score.
I'm at normal
Yeah, so you're good.
for now.
So yeah. I mean that fluctuates pretty heavily because I'm pretty sure that is based on your recent activity more so than your lifetime.
Mhm.
But because like there's been times when like mine has gone from like normal and then down to C for like 10 games and then back up to normal after I got like 5 commands or something. So
Normal is a range from like whatever 7,000 was to 10,000 before. Like that's what normal is.
yeah.
So
Interesting. All right, let's move along to some of the other changes. Language-based matchmaking. At this point, I've gotten pretty fluent at Spanish, so I don't really need this feature anymore. Like,
Yo, this feature still blows. It doesn't work.
of course it doesn't work.
Yeah, this has been a meme for like 3 years.
They're like, oh, we'll better make it like language matchmaking, and it's just worse. Like, you can't queue US East and expect to actually get it English-speaking teammates. It doesn't
I've just
happen.
given up trying to queue past 10 o'clock because I just run into too many Chinese players.
it works fine for me, and Spanish is my second language thing selected. There's only Spanish speakers on the other team for me.
I get wrecked by this all the time.
Re-deliver courier items. This is a small. Well, I don't know if it's a small in-game change, but at least relativity, it's kind of nice. So say multiple people are fussing over the courier. Once gets delivered, you can actually right-click on the courier button and send it to your teammate that wanted it after you or with you, whatever the case is. And so it's kind of a nice change for teammates that are paying more attention. I personally really like it. Custom game arcade revamp. Has anybody had a chance to utilize it or play any custom games? Or are we just all hardcore ladder grinders?
Yeah, I used to play a lot of custom games, so I understand what this did, which is kind of nice. But the biggest problem was that you had a ton of bots in custom games and a bunch of like just like accounts like that weren't actually legitimized, and so that's what a lot of what they're trying to address right now is.
Gotcha. Custom game matchmaking penalties. I think that's
That was specifically for the bots and stuff.
Yeah.
That's specifically for
Customs are
bots.
finally saved.
Dedicated servers for custom games. Another one of those kind of life improvement changes. So we could kind of skip over that. Minimap neutral difficulty icons. Kind of cool, but
This is nice for new players,
Yeah.
but everyone that's been playing for years and years, it's whatever.
yeah, there's
I didn't even notice that happened, if I'm being honest.
yeah,
Didn't even recognize that was a change.
yeah. Players that play the game and have played for a long time would not care about this change in any way, shape, or form. Like you know,
It'll be handy if and or when camps are shuffled around in the future.
True. That's a good point.
Yeah, but for now, anybody that plays, everybody knows where everything is at, so it's not that big of a issue. Ready check. This was cool. I actually got to use it a few days ago with a party, and I think that's nice because you could always yell at that one person that's not ready, and so you don't have any issues when it comes to readying up when the actual match is ready as well. So it's kind of a nice little improvement of Life Edition. Active friends filter. Cool. Another
Feels
one of
good,
those,
man.
Yeah,
You can know who your real friends are now.
Color coded teleport.
I
Cool.
can barely tell this exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should really do the fortify, color-coded fortify. That's the one thing I thought was coming in this quality of life upgrade, but it didn't.
Yeah, it'd be really nice.
Bugs the crap out of me.
Visual tower damage. Cool again. we're coming closer to being League of Legends?
I think when we see the next big Valve patch with custom train, or I guess the TI patch, I'd probably be the first one for that. Battle Pass when? We're gonna see really cool things for the towers.
Yeah, hopefully. They don't. However, if you regen your tower, they don't rebuild, so it feels bad, man.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, so if you have like a treant or something and you like regen your towers, they don't like reconstruct. They just stay broken.
Dota, so unplayable, so unplayable.
Yeah. Give me a free game, dude.
All right, now
Still beta.
Now there's a big list of other UI improvements.
There's so many to go through. All of them are just quality of life stuff.
Yeah,
There's
there's not really a whole lot to go through. It's just like there's a couple that are nice.
The one for like spectators that they might notice is the scan and glyph change, where they split the scan and glyph in half, I think, on the spectator client, and so you could see which half has used the scan and glyph and how much time is remaining, or at least
shout out to Layers.
Yeah, some of that sand, kind of the sand clock. So that's kind of cool. We'll just kind of scroll down because there's a lot of stuff. There's some minor gameplay, well, not minor, but general gameplay changes all over the place, and so
I really like the passive aggressive ability to ping your allies' status and their abilities. Like Black Hole still on cooldown. Black Hole still on cooldown.
But yeah, it's getting good use. All right, general changes right now. Wards now require a constant 2-hit to kill, so that's
so nice.
Yeah.
No more 5 auto attacks as CM to kill a ward.
Oh, that was the worst.
I mean, I guess in a sense it makes the game a little bit easier since it's not.
It's just more fair for supports.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Tier 1 tower armor increased from 1 to 2, not a huge change. Bounty runes base XP reduced from 25 to 0. Not a huge change. Bounty runes gold growth increased from 2 to 4 minutes. Roshan now has 25% status resistance. Kind of an interesting change right there. And all pick drafting time per hero selection reduced from 30 to 25.
A full 5 seconds less. Oh no!
Keep moving it down. Keep moving it down.
Wait, really quickly, the bounty rune base XP is pretty nuts actually. Because oh, it's huge. It's one of the biggest changes in this patch by far. It like arguably, because if you're a 4 or 5 position, picking up 1 or 2 bounty runes at level 1 is a fourth or half of your experience to level up. So like now you can't just like have a bad lane, go pick up 2 bounty runes, get level 2, and come back to lane and like help win your lane anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah. Pretty much.
The base experience reduction is like nuts for roaming heroes. It's really strong.
Yep.
Interesting. Good take on that. Item changes. Is there any items to you guys that kind of stick out?
Battle Fury wasn't nerfed enough. Aeon Disc is slowly on the road to being useful. Meteor Hammer is slowly moving away from meme status.
Dude, Meteor Hammer is good. It's good.
It's arguably good. It's still skill based.
I think the hammer is just straight up a good item now. Like
yeah,
it's like it's not terrible anymore because you could use it potentially twice in a fight, or like fight and then immediately high ground push. You can use it on every wave. Like the cooldown before was a joke. Now it's actually a good item.
I mean, for people that don't know, Meteor Hammer can hit towers too as well, right? Like you can cast it on towers and it does tower damage. So it's another one of those.
It also stuns the tower. Oh, right? Or no?
Yeah, it's momentarily stuns the tower. It's legitimate amount of damage to players too, though. Like it's 700 magic damage. Like it is insane.
I built it on Treant Protector a couple of games ago, and the AoE stun for like 6 seconds was pretty sweet.
Feels good.
Yeah, Underlord, OD. I feel like I've seen mainly Meteor Hammer on OD above like all other heroes at the current moment in the patch.
Oh, Naga Siren.
It's the Naga item. Yeah.
It's so strong on Naga. I would say it's the entire reason why she's seeing so much play right now.
Yep.
Super good. What about BKB getting rescaled to 70 flat in regards to cooldown?
I'm surprised they actually changed BKB.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't think they really needed to change. I thought it was good where it was, but now you can't really like spam it late game.
I think this is a nerf to SF.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like SF getting that cooldown reduction and just always having BKB up.
It is completely bonkers.
Gotcha. Hero changes. Any ones that you guys find interesting?
Lycan basically wasn't touched.
I mean, his cooldown on his ult got owned.
A whole 10 seconds. Wow.
No, it's the level 3 ult, which was like pretty good. 20-second difference, but yeah, I agree. I don't think he was nerfed enough, but it's definitely.
I'm surprised Helm of the Dominator wasn't touched at all, because that to me is his strongest thing.
Yeah. I will say, Alchemist is getting hilarious.
Dude,
I'm not sure if you've tried it yet, but if you have,
I've been messing around with it.
It's like a legit 4-position hero. Like it is a legit 4-position hero. Like
I mean,
maybe
I don't
one
know
more
about
buff.
4 because like you need some levels before you can do anything. But like that,
like an
that
off
hero,
lane almost.
Yeah, kind of. That's actually what I wanted to try out because like that hero with like a medallion at level 4 stun, just like
dude,
you kill a hero in like 3 hits.
Yeah, he becomes a solar bomb, dude. He just does
I
700 damage, physical damage, right? Like it's insane.
I think I saw EG run it in one of the first games after the patch, and it was actually legit.
Yeah,
I think they lost to Cell, but I think position 4 Alchemist.
That's definitely not because of Alchemist. No, like this hero being able to kill someone that fast, like that early in the game with a stun is like.
Yeah, I think we're gonna like people don't. It's kind of like what we see with every patch when like you get pretty drastic changes like this. Like people don't know where they fit, don't know how to play him. It was like Bane beginning of last patch. People were like, "Oh, this hero's gonna be a carry," and then they're like, "No, he's actually just still a great support." So I think people will figure out Alk. I feel like on paper he's good, but he's just weird still.
Yeah,
no one knows where to put him.
Ember Spirit. The slight damage increase, is that going to make any difference with buffs?
It's not enough to that big of a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sleight of Fist isn't anything that's wrong with this kit. I don't think that matters at all.
Cool little, for me at least, I thought this was a cool little minor support change because I actually like playing with Lion. Mana Drain now slows the target as it levels up 14.
Yeah, it's super handy. 18,
so cool.
I actually really like it. I was like, that's kind of a unique ability.
It's pretty sick, but I don't think it makes Lion any more pickable currently. Like
I would agree with that.
He kind of does the exact same thing. It's just now he has an extra slow.
Well,
like,
yeah. In terms of
already
mana drain, if you can get those extra like second and a half of just like sucking up full mana, you can stop somebody. I feel like would be.
I think as it stands, like he's just as good as he was before, like because the heroes this affects the most is the heroes he already counters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty much.
So.
I will say one thing that is nice. I have seen people pick up mana drain level 2 on like certain comps with like carries, like for instance Juggernaut, and you just go stun mana drain, and now suddenly you have a slow to keep your Juggernaut on top of your enemy hero. So like
you wouldn't even need Phase to chase him down with Blade Dance.
Yeah. So yeah, true. It's just like you have a little bit more synergy on certain heroes, but like Diego was saying, like the hero is still good, and he's picked for the same reasons he was picked before.
Yeah. Gotcha. He's not a Disruptor. He's not a Bane. He's not Rasta. So you're gonna pick Lion when you're gonna pick Lion. You're not gonna pick him because he's suddenly super buffed.
Pangolorian. Good God, this is the most obnoxious hero ever right now in current like just solo queue like. Rolling Thunder increased, thank God, from 50-40-5-40 to 70-65-60. But God damn, is this the most obnoxious?
This hero, I still don't understand this hero.
Dude, this hero is like an easy 5K hero. Like you can legitimately just get good at Pangolier and get to 5K. Like he is. He is still brilliant.
No, I agree. It's just like I've played this hero like 10 times already, and I just like I never know what to do because like I want to do damage and you do a shit ton of damage, but then like. Using your ult is a little bit more useful. I don't know.
You just go in and you cause as much chaos as physically possible.
Have you ever tried a TP out from a Pangolorian? I have never. Like, if you've got a Pangolorian in you, I'm just like, I got to figure out how to walk out of this fight instead of TP out of it because he's just gonna roll into me, roll and just bash into me if I try to go anywhere. And so, yeah, this is the most obnoxious hero in this current patch. Next to like. Still seeing Willow. I think people are still figuring out Willow as well.
I think Enchantress is the most annoying.
I think Enchantress, SF are my least favorite heroes to see in every pub game. I hate them both.
I would add Naga and Lycan to that list.
I mean, Tinker's like a meme at this point. There's ways to deal with the Tinker. You cannot deal with an Enchantress.
Yeah.
like, in the first 10 minutes.
She has
of the game.
3 less armor though. Like that part is actually pretty legit because now
So
like
it's base damage that was reduced, not armor.
Oh, all right. Well, red
Yeah.
doesn't matter at all.
So
Hero is still unkillable.
Tusk Snowball can no longer be cast while rooted. Kind of an
Rip.
interesting change, yeah.
doesn't
I mean,
kill the hero, but it's definitely a good change.
Yeah,
It's a
it-
slight nerf to
Tusk-
his blink in and snowball save someone.
Yeah.
All right.
like I spam that hero. He's a good hero. Still a good hero.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like
Anytime you can manipulate enemy movement, the hero is going to be strong. That's just the way it is.
Any other
every game that Tusk isn't banned first, I just pick him. 'Cause
Yeah.
the hero.
Exactly. Same. I first pick the hero every game if he's available.
And I think the last interesting one is the Shadow Shaman nerfs, because everybody was just picking them as of recent. Cooldown for Ether Shock went from 8 to 14, 12, 10, 8. And then Shackle's total damage reduced from 120, 200, 280, 360 to 60, 160, 260, 360. So eventually it scales up to where it was, but in earlier levels it's not as strong. Is this a good change for Shaman as well?
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like we lost Shaman for a really long time, and then all of a sudden he just came back as of recent, and now
It was the
he's getting
damage
back
change.
nerfed.
Yeah. The like a
He
shotgun
gained, like,
from his
8 damage?
attacks. This hero just does too much at level 2, I think. Like,
Yeah.
he could show up to a lane, just kill him. He could kill a mid hero, he could kill a safe lane hero at level 2 is too much.
And he just like zones off laners with a right click. Like that's the hardest part. Like he got a ton of damage, shorter range, and you can't trade against the hero. And then if he wants, he can just shackle you for 3 seconds, and you're like, cool. Like you can't contest lanes that had Shadow Shaman in it. So
His level 1 right click's what, like 72, 74?
72 to 74 average.
Yeah.
It's
That's just
insane.
disgusting.
Overall, though, how do we feel about the patch?
I love it.
Pretty good. Yeah, I like this.
Yeah, I'm excited to see like the constant 2-week patches.
Yeah.
That are kind of like more like minor tweaks instead of like waiting 6 months for like
For the game to change.
yeah.
See, though,
Yeah.
we don't get these type of discussions, though, to look at these big patches when we have just like minor changes like every single week like this.
No more 9-hour purge videos.
Yeah, God.
Oh my god, dude, he still spent like 3.5 hours on this patch analysis. In case you're wondering, I'm dead serious. I watched it. I don't know how.
I don't know it at all.
I bet Purge was the only one that got upset at like the short patch announcement. He was like, "Damn it!" It's like this is my featured 10-hour content like stream. Just like just lost it. But yeah, no, overall, I think for quality of life and general game changes, this was overall pretty interesting. I feel like things like Meteor Hammer will be tested a little bit more. Some of the hero changes, if they're good and not enough, like for Lycan and maybe even Shaman too as well. I'm still seeing Shaman picked a hell of a lot.
Yeah, he's still strong.
Okay, he's still good.
I just hope we figure out how to like remove Pangaloria from the game like completely. That'd be like
Hey, he's not in CM at least. Like we have that.
God,
He will be
Wait till
soon
next
though.
week.
I bet next like patch in the coming months, like you're gonna see Pango and Willow both added to CM.
I want to see techies get added. That'd be
think-
hilarious.
I think Techies can come back. I don't understand why he's not in CM.
It's
Legitimately.
time. It's time. We need techies back for the tournaments. Like it'd be just way too much fun to see, especially moving mines. Like so
Oh my God.
you know somebody's gonna try it.
Can you surge the mines on Darkseer?
No.
I
No.
Oh
don't
damn!
think so.
I was gonna say that would be the funniest way to win a game.
Just
Is
like-
just get the AOE surge talent and then just AOE surge like 20 mines into the base and end the game. Dude, like come on, that would be incredible.
I just see a techie spend like 10 minutes placing mines on one spot,
I could
and
just-
then AoE surge, and suddenly the ancient goes from full health to 0 instantly.
I mean, you've seen those clips, right? Of like the 25 MS mines of like a stack of 20 like creeping onto the ancient, and then the ancient explodes and like the game ends. Like we've seen the videos. It's hilarious.
I would love to see that as just like a general Darkseer strat. You just have somebody in lane and then a Darkseer and Techies just sitting in jungle. Techies puts down a mine, Darkseer claps his hands. You see secret missiles like heading across the map like a Heroes. Like, what the hell is
Dude,
this?
it becomes the better gyro.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty much.
All right, we have gone just a tiny bit over an hour and a half due to some of our technical issues at the start, but definitely much shorter than last time around. I think we got everything we needed to talk about in regards to the Georgia ban, fall and spring, and some of the patch notes as well today. So I think this is a good place where we can leave off. So we're going to bring it to final words. Charles, lead the way. What do you got for us?
I'm looking forward to Dota creeping towards better and a more balanced game instead of the balance that we've seen the last forever. And yeah, instead of patch dropping and our LAN finals being, okay, we have to figure the game out again, it's okay, patch dropped. Like, okay, what changed? Okay, that looks good. Sweet.
Cool. Ricky, what about you?
Shout
out to the Jolly Pollies.
Yeah, dude. Hey, shout out to my boys from Cal Poly Slow who disbanded. Feels bad, man. Honestly, I'm really excited for the LAN finals. I am gonna try to be there, and I just am gonna be excited for the whole event. I really am stoked for playoffs. I think there's so many good teams that we have this year that are left, and those games are going to be a lot of fun to watch. And kind of like what Charles said, like the game is becoming more balanced, and I'm excited that like every hero is becoming viable, and you're not seeing like this 2-3 here, like the 5 to 10 heroes like that can only be picked or played. So that's where I want to get back. I want to get back to like the 103 picked heroes at TI, you know?
Gotcha.
Amen.
Amen. Diego, what about you, man? Are you gonna join
I'm
in
excited.
Are you gonna join in a game of Super Smash back there? I was like hoping you'd just like turn around on us and grab the controller.
I've been itching to play Smash for like the last hour because I keep seeing this in the background. I'm really excited. Like playoffs are definitely gonna be really fun this year. My one thing is as long as there isn't a 3K team in top 4 again, I'm happy.
Oh, that was a situational thing though, more than I want to say. Like, I'm assuming you're talking about Cal State Long Beach, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
it was more so like because this year there's just like that. There's just way more better teams.
Well, with that said, actually, that's a great reminder to all our Dota 2 teams. Get your transcripts ready. Make sure you have actual legal players playing this year when we actually check on you. So
Please.
Yes. So when you actually want to go to the finals, you could actually come to the finals.
Rip.
Yeah, for sure. As for the remaining side of Rutgers, what are you guys looking at for the rest of the year?
We're pretty confident, I'd say. I think we started last year thinking like the general idea was just like, yeah, we can make playoffs with this team. And after playing the last semester and just practicing more and more, I think we have a pretty good feel for like we can make top 8 for sure. I think. After that, I'm not sure. It depends on how we're doing. Like, if we have momentum, I think we're good. We'll through.
In general, for like school operations too as well, you guys are a very active team. You guys are good on social media, have a pretty nice sized club. Are you guys going to look further to try to get more support from the actual university after this?
We've been working towards that for like the last couple of years now. We've had like meetings with faculty and stuff like that. So far, we have a varsity team now for Hearthstone in name.
It's great. That helps. That helps obviously.
Yeah.